Thank you for joining us for another Luxogen video in the world of skyscrapers and mega projects. This video will feature some of the weirdest buildings and skyscrapers in the world today. So let's jump right into the video. Number 15. Aqua, Chicago. Upon first glance, this may appear to be a clay model made by an over-enthusiastic toddler who has no understanding of basic physics. Aqua Tower is the tallest building in the world designed by a woman, which may sound sexy to our ears today, but it should not diminish Gang's incredible achievement. Aqua's balconies were stretched outward by 12 feet to allow residents to enjoy the nearby landmarks, resulting in an irregularly shaped concrete slab that gives the 82-story building its undulating, wavy appearance, although the name Aqua came from the Magellan Development Group. Because of its wave-like balconies and to fit in with the other nautical-themed buildings in Chicago's Lakeshore East development, it goes without saying that its proximity to nearby Lake Michigan also influenced the name. In fact, Gang herself cites the limestone outcroppings that are common to the Great Lakes region as inspiration for the completely original look of this skyscraper. Number 14. Elephant Building, Bangkok. While this building looks more like something from a Tetris game than a flesh and blood elephant, it still pays homage to Thailand's national animal. Given that Bangkok is home to over 80 completed skyscrapers, this elephant would probably benefit from seeing a chiropractor. I think the architects have to go all out if they want to stand out by building another one. The real estate tycoon Dr. Aaron Chaisari happened to be an elephant fan because he had opened his own museum to exhibit his collection of 2,000 elephant-themed art pieces. So it was no surprise when he teamed up with architect Angard Stratubano to create this amazing building. The Elephant Building is a striking site with numerous unusual features, including luxury apartments, office buildings, and amenities. Aside from the elephant's ears and trunk, its multi-story balconies and its tusks are home to the building's management company. Also, there is a tail that runs down the rear of the building and contains 20 floors of rooms completely sealed off from the outside world by smoked glass. It has certainly split opinion over the years, with CNN naming it as one of the world's 25 greatest skyscrapers and Architectural Digest calling it one of the 31 ugliest skyscrapers in the world. Clearly not an elephant fancy then. Number 13. Fake Hills. At first glance, this building looks like a roller coaster, but it's actually a residential development designed by mad architects, which is not a personal judgment but an acronym. To mimic Mother Nature's contours while supplying high-density housing economically viable, the architects combined high-rise and groundscaper typologies. The 800-meter-long complex also provides fantastic views of the ocean due to the location's geometry. Fake hills are a reaction to the urban tower complexes that are very common in China. This complex is a breath of fresh air, quite literally, since openings in the buildings allow the sea breeze to pass through. Number 12. Castalia, The Hague. If King Kong or Godzilla ever made their way to this part of the Netherlands, they would have to be extremely cautious. Basically, if they sat down, they'd probably agree that the tops of these towers are a little sharp. While the Castalia certainly fuse heritage with the country's architectural style, their 104-meter height sets them apart from other buildings. Each tower's gabled roof is purely decorative, but it has made them famous in The Hague, perhaps even a figure of fun. What makes us think that? Castalia is known locally as the tits of Den Haag, despite not being anatomically correct. And if you think we are anatomically correct, you might want to stop watching this video and call your doctor right away, since the Dutch Ministries for Public Health, Welfare and Sport are located in Castalia. It might not be a bad idea to get checked out there. Originally designed by Jan Lucas in 1967, the building was completely renovated and redesigned in the 1990s in a post-modern style. From 1967 to 1998, it was called Transitorium, the Passage House. but it was renamed Castalia in 1998 after the Greek nymph named Castalia. Even if she did influence the shape of the two roofs, her anatomy wouldn't be similar to a human's. Number 11. Umeda Sky Building, Osaka. The strange skyscraper in Osaka, Japan is certainly enough to make you drive off the road if you're not expecting it. The Umeda Sky Building consists of two 40-story towers connected by two floating garden observatories on the top two floors. Its striking feature is the huge empty space in the middle that is crisscrossed by the highest glass escalator in the world. You may want to avoid going to this place if you don't have a head for heights, or if you simply prefer to keep your lunch digested. Designed by Hiroshi Hara and standing at 563 feet tall, the Umeda Sky Building was completed in 1993. On the bridges that span and connect its two towers, you will find the floating garden observatory, along with an underground market recreating the atmosphere of Osaka in the early 20th century. Many prominent companies are based in the building, including Mazda Platinum Games and now the famous vaccine manufacturer AstraZeneca. Number 10. Abraj Al Bayt Towers, Mecca. The word breathtaking is overused these days, but it's applicable when you consider the century's third tallest building on our list. In addition to having the largest clock face in the world, the clock tower at the Abraj Al Bayt Towers look down on Islam's most sacred site, the Great Mosque of Mecca, which is not only an equally amazing structure to witness, but also an integral part of the tower's everyday functioning. The building contains two large prayer rooms that can accommodate 10,000 people, in addition to a five-star hotel designed to accommodate the millions of pilgrims who visit Mecca every year. It is the world's second most expensive building and costs a total of $15 billion. It is built on the site of the Ajiad Fortress, an 18th century Ottoman citadel that dominated the mosque and was controversially demolished by the Saudi government in 2002. Number 9. Aldar Headquarters, Abu Dhabi. Well, let's see what you can say about this building. It seems like something that would be more at home in the Star Wars universe. If you didn't know this was a skyscraper, you might think you were looking at the world's most expensive hockey puck. In addition to being the first circular skyscraper in the world, Aldar Headquarters is also one of the first eco-friendly office buildings in Abu Dhabi that incorporate recyclable materials like steel and concrete. Its natural light is maximized, with efficient lighting and water systems, as well as a subterranean vacuum waste collection system. At 110 meters high and with 32 stories, this incredible building has been described as one of the world's most dazzling corporate offices. In addition, it won the award for Best Futuristic Design at the 2008 Building Exchange Conference, which sounds like it could be the Oscars of the architectural world. Number 8. Antilia Building, Mumbai. When it comes to designing a safe and stable skyscraper, most architects do not use Jenga as an inspiration. You certainly wouldn't want to model a building on something that is more or less designed to fall over. Even if someone accidentally moves it, the Antilia Building in Mumbai, India feels right. From the outside, this 27-story building doesn't look much, but it's the private residence of India's richest man, Mukesh Ambani. And if legend has it, it has more floor space than Versailles. Even if the roominess of the place isn't what you're looking for, consider all the other amenities available. 168 parking spaces underground, 3 helicopter pads, 9 high-speed elevators, a 50-seat movie theater, or the snow room that literally produces snowflakes from the walls. Or how about the 600 staff who are employed to cater to a family of 5? Luxurious is not even close to describing this place. It was once considered the world's most expensive residence, which may explain why it could withstand a magnitude 8 earthquake, unlike Jenga, of course. Number 7. Marina City, Chicago. If two giants had been eating corn on the cob each at a barbecue in the middle of Chicago and discarded the empty cobs, the result might have resembled the unusual skyscrapers comprising Marina City. Would you agree? The people of Chicago do, even if you don't, as these buildings are affectionately referred to as corn cobs. And their wacky design is not accidental. The apartments in Marina City were designed to contain almost no right angles in the interior. Every floor has a circular hallway surrounding the elevator, with apartments arranged around the hallway, each of which ends in a semicircular balcony, meaning that every living room and bedroom in Marina City has a balcony, and the lower floors are equally interesting. A spiral parking ramp with 896 spaces for the lower 19 floors of Marina City was designed by Bertrand Goldberg in the 1960s, during the height of the automobile obsession in the United States. Although now most famous for its House of Blues concert hall, Marina City is actually a city within a city, which features a theater, a gym, a bowling alley, swimming pools, restaurants, and stores. Of course, the Marina accounts for the other half of its name. Number 6. Porsche Design Tower, Miami. This tower might not look as out of place as some of the other skyscrapers, but what's important is not what the outside looks like. It's what on the inside. The Porsche company is famous for, well, Porsche cars, and certainly not skyscrapers. But this 60-story luxury building, located in Sunny Isles Beach, Florida, and designed by Seeger Suarez Architects, is based around cars. In addition to Porsche branding, this residential skyscraper offers not only a variety of very exclusive apartments, but Porsche cars if you want to. And why wouldn't you when you live in a tower like this? You can literally drive them up to your apartment, as the Porsche Design Tower has a robotic parking garage with 3 elevators that allow tenants to take their cars up to their apartments, where 2 to 4 cars can be parked outside at any one time. That's right, you can sleep amongst your cars. Number 5. Lippo Center, Hong Kong. If you look at the Lippo Center in Hong Kong, the first words that come to mind are futuristic and sci-fi, but only if the movie was made in the 80s. It wouldn't look out of place in RoboCop, Total Recall, or any other classic from that era. It certainly deserves its place on our list of weird and wonderful skyscrapers. It doesn't matter what we think the Lippo Center looks like, since Hong Kong residents call it the Koala Building due to the way its extrusions cling to the glass towers. The architect, however, had his own philosophy about the structure that had nothing to do with pandas clinging or bamboo coats. The aesthetic intent is to make the building stand out. It is intended that the buildings become dematerialized by reflecting the ever-changing light, and I suppose that would be very romantic if the building didn't seem to be cursed. A number of spectacular corporate collapses have taken place since 1988. So the building owner did what any failing company would do in times of crisis. He consulted some feng shui experts. As the first consultant pointed out, the building had very poor feng shui due to its famous C-shaped extrusions. So they referred the matter to their in-house feng shui expert, who said everything was just fine and gave the place a clean bill of health. Maybe it's time for a third opinion now. Number 4. Genex Tower, Belgrade, Serbia. With a revolving restaurant connecting the twin concrete towers of this building, you get the impression that this skyscraper is in the midst of an identity crisis. But we've all dealt with crisis of identity at one point or another. Genex Tower, designed to resemble a huge gate greeting visitors to Belgrade from the west, has certainly split opinions over the years between those who dislike it and those who completely despise it. Some call it breathtakingly ugly, while others dismiss it as one of the worst examples of brutalist architecture. It's not as welcoming as, say, seeing the castle at Disneyland, but it lacks in elegance what it lacks in beauty. What it lacks in mainstream appeal, it makes up for in weirdness, and that's why it made a very exclusive list. The Genex Tower, also known as the Western Gate, stands 36 stories high and was designed in 1977 by Mihajlo Mitrovic in the brutalist style. The word brutal is perhaps too tame a word to describe the aura of this building, but that hasn't stopped it from being designated as a cultural monument and referred to as an urban lighthouse. It is the most memorable aspect of New Belgrade and the visual benchmark of the entire city. Number 3. CCTV Headquarters, Beijing. Here's the next entry, which looks like a gigantic handle, as if we're expecting an equally massive hand to appear out of the sky and pick up Beijing like a little Red Riding Hood would do with a picnic basket. However, that is not the image that immediately comes to mind for the locals of Beijing. That's a pretty good comparison too. This 44-story skyscraper in Beijing serves as the headquarters for China's Central Television. Considering this building is located in a seismic zone, that's a pretty bold shape to consider. Designed by architects Rem Koolhaas and O'Shiren, the skyscraper is far from traditional, with a loop of 6 horizontal and vertical sections creating an irregular grid at the outside. Rem Koolhaas was clearly in tune with the place he was designing. A prominent Chinese critic, however, claimed that the building was modeled after a pornographic image of a woman on her hands and knees. Although Koolhaas officially denied this, no doubt while blushing and avoiding eye contact. Number 2. Robot Building, Bangkok. The robot building in Bangkok does exactly what it says, since it looks like a robot. Okay, it might resemble a robot from a low-budget episode of Doctor Who, but that doesn't change the fact that you wouldn't be surprised if it got up and walked away suddenly, making beeping and whooping noises. After being inspired by his son's robot toy, architect Sumit Jemsai created the robot building for the Bank of Asia in order to reflect the computerization of banking. Sumit also used the blocky design to criticize the neoclassical and postmodern architecture of the time, stating that the building need not be a robot. He added that a multitude of other metamorphoses would suffice as long as they were able to liberate the spirit from the current intellectual impasse and propel it forward. He probably followed that up by saying that robots are really cool anyway. His plan certainly worked because the building was not only named to the Museum of Contemporary Art's top 50 seminal buildings of the 20th century, but also won an award from Chicago's Athenian Museum of Architecture and Design. Number 1. The Sutyagin House, Russia. In the same way that Pinocchio the wooden doll wanted to be a real boy, this building is very much like the Pinocchio of weird-looking skyscrapers. The poor building had always dreamed of being a skyscraper, but sadly, it was not to be. Even though it might not be as high on the list as some others, it certainly gains points for its peculiarities, especially when you consider that it was built by a former gangster and was once the tallest wood house in the world, standing at 144 feet and 13 stories. In the 1990s, Sutyagin toured the world and felt that he needed to create something based on his impressions of capitalist countries. His obsession with Gothic cathedrals in Germany and pagoda towers in Japan led to this obsessive and bizarre creation. In spite of never having been granted permission to build it, the Sutyagin house continued to be a project for its namesake. As he added floors, it would not look complete, so he kept asking the builders to build more staircases, and then more towers, and more towers, until the builders became increasingly convinced that their employer was becoming more and more insane. Even so, he was eventually imprisoned and the building was half demolished in 2009 due to safety concerns, with the rest of it burning down in 2012. Maybe that's a good thing, considering it was called Count Dracula's Palace by locals. We hope you enjoyed another Luxogen video in the world of skyscrapers and mega projects. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell to stay informed of our future videos. Take care for now, and we will see you in the next video.